Good morning. It's day 24. I've just stepped onto the Sugarland Trail, which is about a 0.4 side trail back to the AT from the shelter. I was at Mount Collins shelter last night. Not much of my gear dried out, so I'm carrying a heavy bindle of everything I was wearing yesterday wrapped up in a bandana in my pack. And what were dry socks are now soaking wet because my shoes, which weigh a ton because they're wet, have already saturated my socks, and my toes are cold. It's a quite lovely day. If you can see how picturesque this trail is ahead of me and as well as behind me. So the plan for the day is about 5 miles total to Newfound Gap, which will take me about 2.5 hours. And I'm sure I have my clock and watch on me. I forgot to check my wrist this morning. And then catch a ride into Gatlinburg. Starting to turn into a little bit of a climb, so I'll turn off for now. And just like that, we're back on the AT. I think, to me, the most beautiful part of the Appalachian Trail in the Smokies is this section from starting just before Klingman's Dome, when you start going up into the pine, maybe starting just after Siler's Bald, and you start getting into these pine forests that are just dipped in moss, and then continuing almost all the way to Davenport Gap, maybe all the way to Peck's Corner somewhere. It's just this variety of forest types that are just picturesque and gorgeous. And once you get past Newfound Gap, there are several beautiful views of the Smokies and the mountains beyond that you don't really have in the first half of the Smokies, the first 2/5 of the Smokies, first half of the Smokies. Coming up on another one of those fence crossings. I just did one a few hundred yards back. I believe this was or is a wild hog containment area or something. So not wild hog containment, but wild hog exclusion to protect the habitat. I guess the wild hog's toes are too pointy to walk on that grate. So I've been reflecting overnight on yesterday's hike and realized that the situation I put myself in or found myself in, whichever way you want to consider it, was just too dangerous, and I need to be careful not to do that again. The combination of factors were cold It was, I think the high yesterday was like 44, 45, which is pretty close to what it was at the beginning of the day, so it never really warmed up like somehow I thought it would. Possibly due to altitude increase from where I got my weather report. And then the wind and then the rain, all of those combined to where I was very much on the edge of hypothermia, the only remedy for which was to keep walking, to keep yourself warm, myself warm, until I get to the place where I'm going to set up camp, and then put on dry clothes and, you know, make warm things with my stove. All of which I did, and that's how it worked out. But the one thing I realized as I was teetering on the edge of a knife edge of the trail with gale force winds and horizontal rain, I was not in fear of the weather causing me an accident, but accidents happen, and I realized at that moment that if there were an accident, if I did twist an ankle or break a leg or fall or anything like that, that would be it. I would be in hypothermia within 20 or 30 minutes, and because it's raining, there'd be no way for me to get dry and protect myself to prevent that. I wouldn't be able to just to drop everything and set up camp and start my stove and do all that on the middle of the trail, because it was just howling winds and pouring rain at the same time. So those are the factors I'm going to consider for future rain day hikes, and that's the survivability of that guy just offered me a ride into Gatlinburg if I need it. To look for him in the parking lot. So that's kind of what I was hoping would happen. Where was I? Do I need to rewind to figure out where I was? Anyway, I was saying future rainy day hikes, I need to factor in not just do I have all the gear I need to fix myself at the end of the day, but also, is this a survivable situation should I befall some unforeseen calamity? And yesterday I would not have, and I kind of realized that partway through the day. So that's my lesson learned for yesterday, and do my best to not repeat that. If it were colder and drier, you know, if it were 30 degrees and there was snow on the ground, or even if it was snow falling from the sky, I would not have felt as in danger, because I would not be wet. And if I needed to bushwhack myself a campsite to survive a situation, it would have been much easier to do. And I've hiked in those conditions too, and I've never felt as unsafe as I did yesterday. Well, I made it to Newfound Gap. This is a Wednesday, y'all.
So my name's Sunshine. I hiked in 2019. I thru hiked.
Awesome.
And I remember receiving trail magic on this gap, and it was like a lifesaver, because hiker hunger hit, and I was starving.
Yes.
And I was like, so thankful someone was here. So convinced my husband to come during spring break for us, since we're teachers. So
Okay.
doing trail magic for you guys.
All right. Where y'all from?
Indiana.
Good old Indiana. Yep.
Sweet. Have you hiked?
I have not hiked the trail.
He was my emotional support.
Yeah.
I like the map on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Y'all doing a lot of camper van stuff? Travel camping or what?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
we're big national park people, so
Okay.
we converted a van so we could
Yeah.
camp. We tried on Monday, and we ran into a few people, but because of the weather, The ranger told us we had to leave because the roads were closing. Then yesterday, because of bad weather, the road was closed again. How many people would you say we've seen today?
25 today. Is it a little high? 20?
No, I would say maybe between 15 to 20 people so far today. So.
I got a late start.
Yeah.
Hey, we're still glad you came.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks.
Yeah. Enjoy your hike.
I mean, it's maybe another week or less north of Shenandoah to get to Harper's Ferry, and then you're out of Virginia.
Welcome to Gatlinburg.